I want to thank the gentleman for yielding me this time. I'm especially pleased that the Student Success Act is a major rewrite of the No Child Left Behind law. I was the only member from the Tennessee delegation, the 11-member delegation in the House and Senate, and I think one of 45 in the House that voted against the original No Child Left Behind law, which was a great overreaction to failed school systems in a few of our nation's biggest cities, and we certainly didn't need it in East Tennessee. That, much to my surprise, turned out to be one of the most popular votes I ever cast among public school teachers in East Tennessee. But I'm here primarily today to speak in support of H.R. 529, which this rule also includes. Richard Vedder, an economist from Ohio University, wrote a few years ago a book called Going Broke by Degree, talking about how difficult it was to pay for higher education in this country today. Around the same time, U.S. News and World Report came out with a report that said college educations were almost becoming out of reach for most middle-class families. We need to be doing everything we can to help families pay for college education, and we certainly don't need to be encouraging students to go further into debt. It shocks students at the University of Tennessee when I tell them that it cost me $90 a quarter my first year at the University of Tennessee, $270 for the whole year. I heard the respected minority leader, Mr. Hoyer, give a speech one time, and he said his first year at the University of Maryland, it cost him $87 a semester. But then in the mid-'60s, the federal student loan program came in, and the colleges and universities around the country started using that as a way to tamp down any opposition to tuition or fee increases, and college tuition and fees have just gone out of sight since that time. I've been speaking out for years about how harmful the federal student loan program has become for college students and their families. Now many others are saying the same thing. Kathleen Parker, writing in the Washington Post in January of 2013, said since 1985, the cost of higher education has increased 538%, while the Consumer Price Index, inflation over the same period, has gone up 121%, 4.5 times as much on the increases in college education. Floyd Norris, writing in the International New York Times last February, said, quote, student loans are creating large problems that may persist for decades. They will impoverish some borrowers and serve as a drain on economic activity. Hedge fund manager James Altucher wrote, quote, that we're graduating a generation of indentured students. And I can tell you, when I went to the University of Tennessee, people could work part-time, as I always did, to pay all their tuition and fees. Almost no one got out of school with a debt. Now almost everyone does, and total outstanding student loan debt is now well over $1 trillion. I think it's $1.3 trillion, and some people think it may be one of the next bubbles to burst. So what does H.R. 529 do? It makes it easier for families to save for college educations. We need to do this. We also need to give the universities and colleges that hold their tuition and fees below the rate of inflation, we need to give them bigger grants and so forth, and incentivize the colleges and universities to stop raising their tuition and fees at 4 and 5 times the rate of inflation. But until we do that, H.R. 529 is the least we can do to help out the middle-class families of this country that are having so much trouble paying for their students, their children, to have college educations.